Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching in the world, welcome along to the AOR Hype Energy F3 League here on the PS4, and we are here for the 18th round of the season and takes us to the Mexican Grand Prix. My name is Kieran McGinley, and joining me in the commentary box is the lovely Mr. Austin Smith. Austin, well, a very happy new year to you. Our first commentary gig together of the decade. We're back for AOR. I'm excited.
I'm excited too, and Happy New Year to you as well, obviously, and to all the viewers. We are getting ready here for the Mexican Grand Prix. I love this track, I have to tell you. 17 corners, 2 very long straights, and plenty of overtaking opportunities on offer here. And we talked about this before the stream. Quite some interesting strategy to come up as well.
Yeah, you were talking to me, Austin, how you're expecting either a one-stop or a two-stop. Just while we load into qualifying, just give us a little bit of info on that. What are you expecting today?
So I'm expecting some drivers to be on a one-stop, soft to hard, and others on a two-stop, soft, medium, or any other combination. It could be soft, medium, soft, or someone could start on the medium to throw everyone off, and then goes 2 soft stints to the end, whatever. There's plenty of opportunities there to mix it up, obviously. But both of these strategies are pretty much the same in terms of overall race time, expected race time. So the time you gain from not having to do a second pit stop and just doing one, soft to hard, is at the same time basically the same as the time you lose from having to use the hard compound tires compared to the soft and the medium, which are much faster. The soft tire here on this track is incredibly quick. It's a second faster than the medium compound tire and 1.5 seconds faster than the hard, but it's also, for a soft tire at least, decently durable. So it can last around, if you try to, you know, take it to the max, around, I would say 13 laps, maybe 14 if you really want to push your luck. But I think most drivers will take it about 10 to 11, maybe 12 at the most. You don't want to risk it so much because 11 to 12 laps is about when it falls off the first cliff, and then at 14 it's just completely, the soft tires just, there's a high chance you get a puncture, really, is what it is.
Well, a high chance of a puncture, and at this beautiful Mexican track we're starting to see cars making their way out of the pit lane, and I believe it is Aero who is the first person out onto track here to break the rubber down in towards turn 1, and Nico Rosberg once described this track as pretty much like a go-kart track, which is probably why you and I, Austin, love it so much.
Yeah, it really is. It has some characteristics of a go-kart track. You have these long corners that just, at the same time, feel like they fly. At least the second one. The first one feels like it never ends, but the second one feels like it just flies by. And then you have these tight, angled corners that you really have to throw the car around. Then you have the S's. I think we're still on Aero right here. You see these S's here, really interesting to drive. Basically, you take him flat out, with the exception of turn 10, the last right-hander of this section, where you really only give a lift, maybe slight tap on the brakes, but it really feels like a karting track. Then you get into the stadium, absolutely amazing atmosphere there, and then through the final corner, right-hand bend opens up, the Valtteri Bottas corner, if you will. And the start-finish line comes very early. It's a bit like Russia in that regard, that the last corner, the last corner ends the lap ends very quickly after the last corner, and you don't really have to prioritize a good run out of the corner, but instead you're going to try to maximize the time, minimize the time that you need from the entry of the final corner to the finish line, which comes up very quickly. So you'd rather go a little bit deeper into the final corner, at least on a hot lap, as we're going to see here in qualifying.
Absolutely, this is Aero just making his way through turn 6 onwards now towards this S section. Aero having to use his aero here to make sure that car stays firmly planted onto the track. You can see a little bit of lifts there through these corners, very wide on the exit of turn 11 there. Got to be careful about doing that. It can be very easy to invalidate your time in towards turn 12, which sort of cambers downwards out of the corner but also away from you. Very tricky to get that exit right. Careful of the curbs here because they can really unsettle the car. Not only that, they could really invalidate your lap time. So here comes Aero then towards the final corner and over the start finish line. 1:14.4 from Aero in the Toro Rosso, which is, well, no surprise, the fastest lap of the session so far, until Grisman comes across the line with a 1:14.407 and puts it on provisional pole.
Yeah, Marco Grisman obviously comes off a great victory in Suzuka from last week, his second of the season after also winning the Italian Grand Prix, and obviously those two tracks very different to each other. Monza, I think Monza fits the style of this track here of Mexico a bit more, where Suzuka is more of a twisty, turny track where you don't have that many long straights, only one DRS zone in Monza, and in Suzuka, I mean, sorry. And quite interesting to see him win both these races. I wonder what he's going to be able to do here. And another story might be that our championship leader, Johan, who now has an 18-point gap to VRT Aero, still hasn't won a single race so far this season. Well,
it's great to win a race, but that just shows you how consistent he's been this season. Locker comes across the line, does set a 14.3. That would have put him in onto the front row of the grid, but it was an invalidated lap time. Here is Jaquita making his way now down towards turn 12, riding on board now. He's backed out of the lap there. Obviously not happy with it. Yoka, I believe it's pronounced Yoka, making his way now in towards this stadium section, paved over baseball field here, as we now make our way, tiptoeing our way through the last couple of chicanes, round the final corner through turn 17. Oh, back end steps out on him there on those hard tyres, but he's still going to carry on. Fair play, he kept that under control, but only just. But at the end of the day, that's all it has to be.
Yeah, as long as you keep the car on track, that's all you need to do. But certainly a bit of a frightening moment there for Yoka, and he's going to carry on the hards. Don't expect him to set any good lap time anyway, because those tires are not capable of setting decent lap times. At the end of the day, I'm expecting the pole time to be in the high 113s, maybe the low 114s. So Johan already pretty good there with a 114.2, but I think 114.0, maybe even a 113.9 or 8 might be needed to actually secure the top position on the grid.
Well, we'll wait and see what the times are like. If there is a 14.2 right now, I can definitely see the 113s being possible. Jaquita, meanwhile, making his way now through the stadium section now, just trying to keep the car under control. It's very easy to overcommit over those curbs, especially over the sleeping policeman there. Jaquita making his way around the final corner onwards towards the start-finish line. 14.6 from the Mercedes driver, which puts him onto the third row of the grid, fifth place for him.
Yeah, and we have the top 6 basically in what is just over half a second, 5/10 and a bit, if you will. So you can see how close the field is together already, and we only have 7 drivers who even set a lap time, and I'm pretty sure Pitmat has made a massive mistake on his lap that cost him at least half a second, if not more. So all these drivers very, very close to each other. And I think this race is anyone's for the taking.
Yeah, unfortunately only 12 drivers here, but that does mean that points are on offer if you can make it to the end of the race. If you can get classified, there's a real chance you can get points on the board here, Austin. So, in essence, you've got to be even more switched on.
Indeed, and we have some drivers who have only been in the league for couple of races. If you look at Yoke, who's in 12th right now, without one of the many without a lap time so far. For him, the second race only here in AOR, and he had an 8th place in Suzuka, so really good start. Got his first 4 points, and no longer lost in the championship. He did overtake Alex Musica. And Jaquita with a fantastic result last time. I was 2nd place, his first podium in his second race. Now here, his third. And let's see if he can repeat. He did a fantastic job last time out.
Well, let's see. Well, he's making his way back towards the pit lane. Currently 5th place in the standings of qualifying, that is. He's making his way slowly into the pit lane. Aero goes quicker, 1:14.281, so shaves a couple of hundredths off to get onto the front row of the grid, ahead of Johan, championship leader, in 2nd place. We've got Slimbo, who's just started a flying lap. Swedish Dynamite in 6th place there. Charisman 14.0 there from the Renault driver, now puts himself on provisional pole position there.
Yeah, meanwhile, Table Clan has just started a lap. He invalidated his previous one, and he's on another flyer here. Just came across the line. Same with Alex Musica right now, who is just in turn 6 right now, and he also goes very wide. And I don't know what happened there, but this is an invalidated lap for the, but what it looks like at least. As yeah, Marco Grisman 1:14.0. Yeah, I think we're gonna crack the 113s here.
Oh, definitely going to crack them, but who will get there? Who will do it is the question. You have to feel that Charisman's got more potential to unlock, but as we say, Austin, this is a short track. It's a quick lap. Chances are you can get more than 3 runs, which is not an opportunity you get very often throughout the season.
Yeah, but it's an opportunity that can hurt you. If you throw away your 3 runs too early, then you don't have the tires left for a final run when the track conditions are the best, as Tableclan has also abandoned his lap and is on his way into the pits. This is one thing that is very important here. It is very, very easy to get your lap invalidated and to mess up your lap and basically mess up the tires in the process as well, because you won't be able to use these tires for a lot of time. You can maybe do 2 laps, but then you're going to be hurt going into the race. And maybe that is what some of the drivers who haven't set a lap time yet are banking on. That they say, you know what, finish it, or starting 11th or 12th, it's the back of the field, so no one's going to run into me from behind. And 2, I'm still pretty close to the top 10, and I don't have to use tires. I can use fresh tires that will give me an advantage in the race. So P11, P12 might be, apart from maybe the top 2 rows, might be the best places on the grid.
Well, currently we've got Slimbo making his way back towards the pit lane. I believe Locke is as well. Jakita started another flying lap, 6th place, just under the radar there. Slimbo got himself onto the front row of the grid with a 1:14.227. Aero's currently out on an out lap. There you go. Entire field of the cars that have set a lap time, 1.3 seconds. That looks like just over 1.3 seconds. But 1st to 7th, just under 0.8 of a second. That's not too bad considering. But we make our way now in towards, I believe this is turn 6, with Jakita now making his way towards turn 7. Right on board with the driver who got 2nd place on his debut. A great run for him in that time, and that really does add to the momentum, add to the chance and the opportunities he has for this race, as we see I believe that's the Toro Rosso of Aero there, warming up his tyres, getting ready for the lap there. And hopefully everything's working okay. YouTube Studio does not want to play ball today, so hopefully everything's okay on your end. Obviously let us know if it's not, and also let us know who you think is going to be on pole position. I'm not sure if Austin's still with me. He's been very quiet over the past couple. Oh, you are there.
I am there. You did cut out a bit earlier, so I wasn't. I didn't know how to respond, because you said considering, and then you cut out for me, and I didn't know considering what now. So I was a bit left hanging there, and then you picked up again, and I thought, okay, all right. So we do have to deal with some technical issues here, apparently some audio issues. I don't know why, but yeah, 5 minutes 40 left. It's getting to crunch time now. And for these drivers, they need to get into the mindset now. It's really now about focusing and getting ready to really get that one lap down onto the track. Don't get it invalidated. Don't make any stupid mistakes, and don't make any unstupid mistakes. So yeah, it's really now it's about the mind more than it is about the skill. If you are focused and concentrated and you can get this one lap down and someone else maybe doesn't, then you give yourself a really good chance for this race.
Swedish Dynamite 7th place now, 14.5 for the Haas driver. We've got Alex Musica, who's currently on a flying lap, making his way now towards turn 7, and it's a great section, this one. If you've got the car wired up and you're really confident through this S section, it's one of the best parts of the track, Austin.
It really is. It is very satisfying to go through there, because if you get it hooked up, you just have to lift a bit through turn 10, and that's about it. Every other part of this, and obviously turn 7 to begin with, you're going to have to slow down a little bit and brake a little bit, but other than that, 8 is flat, 9 is flat, 10 if you hook it up is just with a little lift, and turn 11 is flat. It's just so beautiful to drive if you get it right. If you get it wrong, you feel instantly. And I love this. This is an instant feedback kind of section. You know if you've done well in those corners, and you know if you haven't done well in those corners.
Yeah, normally, because if you haven't done well, you just go off the track. So that's my experience of these S's. There's Johan there.
That as well.
I think he's just coming back to the pit lane anyway, and he's making his own track there. Oh, well, never mind.
Yeah, plenty of drivers do, but from what I have heard from the stewards, it is deemed legal to do so.
Well, there you go. So that's absolutely fine. Just as long as it doesn't really upset anybody else's lap time.
Yes.
As Johan comes back to the pit lane. And we've got 5-place grid penalty for Jaquita for a severe collision with Locker. Now, we saw Locker there with no front wing. Jaquita's back to the pit lane. So that must have been on pit lane entry, slowing down for the line.
Yeah, it seems so. It seems so, yeah. I remember there was an issue in another league. I'm obviously not going to say which one, but where we had issues with pit lane entries before, and one driver ran into the back of the other and caused a collision that way. That was in the race, though, and that is something that could happen here as well. It's not a difficult pit entry, by the definition of the word difficult, but it's the breaking point for the drivers is really hard to get right because you don't have any markers you can use. So yeah, this is what could get the drivers into a bit of trouble there, maybe in the race as well. That would, however, be something for the stewards at the end of the day to figure out after the race, most likely, because there might be penalties given during the race. The driver that's pushed into the pit lane at a too high speed is the driver who would get the penalty, which obviously shouldn't be that way because he got pushed. But that would be something for the stewards afterwards to sort out and maybe remove penalties afterwards and apply others. So yeah, really, really difficult and interesting certainly here that this pit entry doesn't really allow the drivers to have good enough orientation to know where exactly to brake for the pit entry.
Well, we're just coming towards the last 90 seconds here for the AOR Hype Energy F3 League on the PS4 and the 18th round here. Only 4 rounds to go, Austin, and it's crunch time for the championship rivals, and to get as many points on the board as possible. As Slimbo there backs out of a lap time, he locked up coming into turn 4 and 5 and decided that's enough, so he won't get another chance to get a lap time on the board. Meanwhile, Chrisman here, who's flying through now turn 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. It just goes on forever, this S section, but it's a wonderful ride if you get it right. Now going all the way down towards turn 12. He's a 10th up through the second sector. This could be the 113 we've been predicting, Austin. Let's see as he makes his way now in towards the stadium section as we head through that slight kink there of 16 in towards turn 17 now and onwards towards the start finish line. Is this the 113 we've been waiting for? Yes, it is. A 113.7 from Marco Chrisman. Jaquita Jaquita, meanwhile, is in second place, 1:14.1. I believe he's on a flying lap at this moment in time, so that's Crisman's time done. I don't think he'll go for another run. I think it's fair to say he's extracted what he can from that lap time. Slimbo goes again for another run. Johan making his way towards turns 4 and 5. A little bit of a lock-up from him into the fourth corner there, but he's carrying on with his lap. We've got Aero making his way through 7 and 8 through that long S section. Locker's making his way through turn 6 onwards towards turn 7. We've got Swedish Dynamite at turn 4. Pitmat takes the checkered flag. He finishes in 9th place. Table Clan goes second with a 1:14.1. That was his only qualifying lap of the session that was valid. Here's Jaquita who comes across the final corner, and 1:13.9 puts him onto the front row of the grid. Let's see who's next to take the checkered flag. I believe it's going to be Johan who makes his way now. It's Aero who moves up to 4th place with a 1:14.1. How about Johan now, championship leader? This has got to be a good one. It's P5 for the championship leader there. Slimbo's in 6th place at the moment. Locker's abandoned his lap time. Swedish Dynamite also on a flying lap. Slimbo then making his way around the final corner, but he's abandoned the lap time altogether. So it's just Swedish Dynamite and Alex Musica to finish up their lap times here. Swedish Dynamite negotiating the last couple of corners here, currently on the 4th row of the grid with a 1:14.5. He's going to make his way towards the line. Any improvement from him? There was an improvement, but not enough to move him up the table, and Alex Musica has retired from the session altogether. So, on pole position then, for the Mexican Grand Prix, it is Marco Crisman on pole here for the Mexican Grand Prix. A great lap time, Austin.
Yeah, his 3rd pole position this season, and it is really a great lap time. As I said before, 1:13.8 was the lowest I expected. This is an absolutely enormous lap from him, and yeah, kudos to him for that performance. It needs to be said that of the 2 pole positions he had so far this season, he only won 1 race. That was the Italian Grand Prix. The other pole he had at the Hungarian Grand Prix. However, it needs to be said he was the only one on the softs to qualify. Everyone else had the mediums. This time, he doesn't have that strategic disadvantage, and so this might bode well for his race.
So it is Crisman on pole. Jaquita, although he qualified 2nd, gets a 5-place grid penalty, so that's going to drop him down the order. Table Clan 3rd, Aero 4th, Johan 5th, Slimbo 6th, Locker also with a 5-place grid penalty. Swedish Dynamite 8th, Yoka in 9th, and Pitmat rounding out the top 10. So the disastrous thing, Locker, who qualified in 7th place now, will have to start from the back in 12th place, I believe. But he has to start on the tyre he qualified on because he qualified inside the top 10.
Exactly. And a little bit of a saving grace there for Jaquita. He also got a 5-place grid penalty, but that will drop him down to 7th. However, 7th place himself, Locker, has also grid penalties, so it's effectively only a 4-place grid penalty for Jaquita. He will start in P6.
So I think that all depends on who got the penalty first, but we'll have to wait and see what the... Oh, okay. I've been told it's a no. I suppose if they were ordered it at the same time, then I guess it would just sort itself out. Well, we'll get to the grid and we'll find out what it's all going to be like. But yeah, are you looking forward to this one, Austin? I know I am.
Very much so, yes. Always great races here at the Mexican Grand Prix. And even with only 12 runners, and there you can see Jaquita in P6 and Locker all the way down. So I'll take that victory lap. Thank you very much.
Yeah. You got the whole track, Austin, to yourself after this one, so you make the most of it.
Yes.
But they're making their way now. They're making their way onto the formation lap. Sorry, Austin, I'm cutting over you. What were you trying to say?
Yeah, it's all right. The top 10, obviously, as they all... the top 9 and Locker, everyone who qualified inside the top 10, on the softs, as they have to. And the 2 outside, Alex Musica and Emerald Basti. Alex Musica is on the mediums, and Emerald Basti starts on the hards. So I would make the argument for both of them. We already know what their strategy is going to look like. For Basti, it's going to be hard to soft, and for Alex Musica, it's going to be medium to soft to soft.
Well, it could be, but obviously it all depends on what sort of track they approach coming into this race. So what's the tyre deck going to be like? Is it going to be much better or much worse than the drivers expected? Obviously, they won't really know until the end of their first stint what the tyre deck is going to be like. But on paper, in theory, the tyre deck should get better through the race as the track rubbers down. It's not always that simple, though.
Yeah, it really depends on a lot of factors. Depends on the temperature. Maybe we're gonna have some rain. That could be the case. That maybe that is one of the reasons that both of them go onto a harder compound, because usually you want to use the soft compound on this track for as long a time as possible, because it is the best tire here by far.
Well, here we go then.
There's rain coming.
Maybe, but whoa, that's something we haven't even touched on. But let's see what happens, because we are moments away from the Mexican Grand Prix here at the AOR Hype Energy F3 League here on PlayStation 4. Strap yourselves in. This is going to be a good one. Only 4 rounds left of the championship, and the championship leader is all the way down the order. Let's see what the starts are going to be like. It's an anxious and nervy time waiting for those 5 red lights. We are underway, and what are the starts like? It's a good start from Marco Grisman, a good start from TableClan, a great start from Yoan. He's off the blocks completely, all the way down towards turn 1. Marco Grisman sees him coming and cuts it off beautifully there as we head now down towards turn 1. He's going to have the right inside line, but look at TableClan take the lead around the outside of turn 1. What a move from the Spaniard. He takes the lead of the Mexican Grand Prix, but watch out for Grisman, who's got a little bit of a run now, heading down towards turn 4. Up the inside he goes. Will he have the move done? He's side by side with him through 4. Little bit of contact between the two of them through 5. Yoan goes through, but they're still side by side, the McLaren and the Renault here through turn 6. The McLaren's got the inside line through 6, but Grisman has to back out of that. Great start between the 3 of them there. Great respect for each other, but in the end they were hard fighting, and TableClan's won out this duel for now. Meanwhile, Jakita's up to 4th place after his penalised start here. Simbo is in 5th with Swedish Dynamite 6th, Aero in 7th. Meanwhile, look at Jakita there trying to make moves now up the order, as that's Locker running wide there. That's at turn number, I've lost track now. It's turn 12 that was. It's such great racing, Austin. I'm lost already, and it's only lap 1. But at the end of lap 1, TableClan will lead the way. Yoan in 2nd, Grisman 3rd, Jakita 4th, Slimbo 5th, Swedish Dynamite 6th, Locker 7th, Aero 8th, Pitmat 9th, Alex Musica rounding out the top 10, and the 2 racing points of Basti and Yoka are 11th and 12th. All the starters, Austin, are still running.
Yeah, and it was a right shocker, that whole first lap for Vierti Aero. He started in P3, look where he is now, all the way down in P8, lost 5 positions on this first lap alone. And remember, he is the #1 challenger to the championship leader, Yoan, who himself has gained 2 positions from 4 up to 2. Now Aero, though, trying to make a move on Locker here into turn 5. Wasn't really there, but he's certainly trying to get this move done and get at least 1 position back, because you can see Locker is already losing touch a little bit with Swedish Dynamite up ahead, and Vierti Aero needs to stay with this group. He needs to be there if he wants to have a chance at gaining points against Yoan.
Yeah, he saw an open opportunity at turn 5. He might see one here through 13. Not quite there, though, as we now head in towards 17. I got that corner number completely wrong. No one pick up on it. No one. But we got Grisman here, who's closing in on Yoan as we head towards turn 1. He's got the slipstream here. He won't have the DRS just yet because the detection point is before the final corner. He's going to go for it down the inside into turn 1. He'll have the outside for turn 2. Doesn't need to worry about that whatsoever. And Grisman goes up to 2nd place. Great move from the Renault driver.
Yeah, fantastically done, and well-deserved 2nd position for him now. I'm still looking at Vierti Aero, and it seems like he loses a lot of time because he's just not aggressive enough in the first couple of corners, turns 1 to 3. He really loses a lot of time there. If he picks up and is just a tad more aggressive there, just attacks the curbs a bit more, he really misses the apexes a lot of times. We saw that here, turn 7 as well. missed the apex there by quite a bit, and that makes him lose time and potentially a chance to overtake Locke.
Well, you
and
can
again,
see
turn 12, another apex missed.
Well, Johan, meanwhile, is keeping the pressure applied to Crisman, but Chiquita and Slimbo are behind in close company as they make their way round the final corner. Table Clan still leads here as we head on to the 4th lap of this race. Locke now sets the fastest lap of the race, so he's getting a move on here, Austin. He must be listening to this commentary. Meanwhile, Swedish Dynamite with some DRS down towards turn 1, sweeps past Table Clan and now into the lead of the Mexican Grand Prix as now Slimbo has left the session from 5th place. That was the Ferrari driver has connection issues and will now drop down this order. He's joined back in, a freak connection issue there, but it takes such a long time to rejoin. It's painful on that loading screen, waiting to come back in and seeing what's happening.
Yeah, and losing those 2 to 3 seconds this early in the race is going to multiply through the rest of the laps on this race. There's 32 more laps to go. The field is all really close together still between P1 and P12, 7.5 seconds only. So losing 2-3 seconds this early on, it means you lose about 5 positions now for him, and it's just so painful. And you have to gain all these positions back, and the overtaking costs you more time, and it multiplies.
Yeah, we've got, I believe it was Pitmat there, picking up a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Meanwhile, you can see there Crisman instantly going defensive here as he now moves back across the racing line. That's all the defending he can do down this main straight in theory, but Table Clan looking for a move around the outside at turn 1. Crisman holds the inside line and positions his car perfectly, but you saw there Johan tried to make a move. He's now missed the second chicane and gets a 3-second time penalty. I think he was trying to avoid contact with Chiquita. Chiquita saw him coming there and moved out of the way, but then Johan missed the chicane to avoid the contact, so a little bit of a miscommunication there between the two drivers. Meanwhile, Locke's moved ahead of Aero there, up to 5th place he goes, and Aero went into the back of the Renault there. Front wing looks okay for now. We have to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that Johan is going to try to appeal that penalty based on what you said, that he was trying to avoid Chiquita. However, I'm not so sure he has a case there. Ultimately, the stewards will decide after the race whether that 3-second time penalty will be removed, and we will keep you up to date on the decisions next week. But yeah, I don't think he has a case there. I think Chiquita saw him coming, and he had every which way to make the corner, and he himself decided not to. So I don't think he's going to get that one removed. But now we have this train of cars once again with the DRS. Slimbo, fastest lap. He's really on a rush here, trying to make it back to his former position. No attack into turn 1 here. It seems, well, Locke has one on Aero, or does Aero have one on Locke? They are side by side, and Locke has to cut across the grass, and I would say he has a better point to say that this 3-second penalty for him now should be removed.
Ooh, and Locke shut the door there into turn 4, but they're both scrapping for this position now, and they've just got to keep calm here because they've got Swedish Dynamite and Pitmat behind them. Pitmat now trying to go round the outside at turn 6 there, although I don't think Swedish Dynamite really gave him another option there, but there could be damage to the front of that Toro Rosso there. He hit the Renault there with a great bit of a whack there through these S sections. It's not quite bad, and Locke has lost it! Locke has lost it through the S section, and he's out of the race completely. The Renault, I think, lost the back end through the S's, and that is the Renault out of the race. Here you can see in the background, just at turn 11, the back end just looked like it completely lost traction. As meanwhile, Pitmat here is now trying to go around the outside of Swedish Dynamite at the final corner, not quite through there. But look at Slimbo now, who senses an opportunity as he looks and dives and darts to the right-hand side with some DRS. The only problem is that Pitmat has DRS too, and he's got slipstream. slipstream, so he's able there to just keep ahead. Swedish Dynamite has to do some defending down towards turn 1. Will he keep the car under control? He will, but look at Pitmat now, trying to stick it up the inside. Swedish Dynamite defending for all he can. Oh, that's Alex Musica around now from 9th place into the wall, and he's lost it completely in that chicane section. Meanwhile, Pitmat still trying to battle away with Swedish Dynamite into turn 4. He might have an inside line into 5. Contact made between the two of them as they head towards turn 6, and Pitmat dives it down the inside. Can he try and hold on to this position? Swedish Dynamite is fighting for his life here into turn 7. Up the inside he goes. Pitmat has to go off the track. There's nowhere else for him to go through. The S section very close there. Slimbo's looking to try and take advantage. Now he goes up the inside. Contact made between the two of them. It's all getting a little bit frantic now as Basti takes advantage there and now moves up to 8th place.
Yeah, really scintillating scenes here, and I'm kind of speechless, really. But I think they have settled down a little bit now. I hope, at least. Paperclan goes into the pits. I think that is a scheduled pit stop. Quite early, I have to say, but it is a scheduled pit stop. No front wing change for him.
Oh, Jaquita up the inside. Zori at turn 1, trying to make a move on Johan. He's on the outside of turn 2. Will he try an inside move into 3? No, the door has closed. Meanwhile, Pitmat gets the move done on Swedish Dynamite into turn 1 with that DRS, and he'll have another helping of DRS down towards turn 4 to help him defend, but that might invite Basti there to have a go down towards turn 4. He looks for it. Looks like he's going to go for it here. It's not quite close enough. Not quite as brave on the brakes as Swedish Dynamite, and the Haas driver holds on. More about Table Clan. He's put on some hard tyres, Austin, so is that a move to go to the end of the race?
I think it is, yes. And Alex Musica also in the pits. I think that is for the front wing damage that he sustained from the spin. He goes on to the soft, so he definitely has at least one more stop to go. But yeah, it's absolutely amazing to see these drivers battle it out here. Swedish Dynamite did a very smart thing going into turn 4. He deliberately went a little bit too deep because he knew the next corner, turn 5, was a right-hander. And so he had the inside for that, and so that was a very, very smart way to defend as they get onto the start-finish straight once more with the DRS. We have Jaquita trying to battle with Johan, has the inside, and this time he makes the move stick. Oh, gets a little bit of a slide on, and that invites Johan back, but he has to back out as Jaquita makes his car very, very wide.
All contact there between Swedish Dynamite and Basti heading into turn 3 there. And where has Swedish Dynamite gone? Oh, he's just there as Basti lets him back through. Sportsmanlike behaviour there. A little bit of contact between the two of them. Swedish Dynamite lets him go. Basti lets Swedish Dynamite goes. And that's allowed Slimbo a free position. Up to 6th place he goes.
Yeah, and now think about what we said at the end of lap 1 when Johan was in P2. And was almost flying, and VOT Aero lost positions all the way down to P8. Look where they are now, 1.2 seconds apart from each other. This championship battle is heating up once more.
Once more it heats up, and all throughout this season it has been red hot. Well, a certain driver got the promotion, got the call up to F1, and that opened up the championship for all the drivers behind him. Meanwhile, lap number 9, all these drivers have come in. Jaquita stays out. Looks like Chrisman here is going on to the hard tyres to go to the end of the race. How about the McLaren driver? Looks like the hard's there, so looks like that's the favoured strategy, Austin, to go for the one stop on the hard tyres. Meanwhile, Slimbo here breezes past Pitmat there down towards turn 1. Meanwhile, that's Basti getting the move done cleanly this time on Swedish Dynamite, and up to 4th place he goes. Obviously yet to stop, and also started this race on those hard tyres, so it'll be interesting to see which tyres he goes on to towards the end of this race.
I mean, most likely it's going to be the softs. Sorry to but yeah. Meanwhile, the interesting thing for me is the 4 remaining drivers on the who started on the softs: Jaquita, Slimbo, Pitmat, and Swedish Dynamite. I think we are going to see some of them, because if you go deeper into the first stint on the softs, you are more likely to go on to the 2-stop here, because you really want to make the most of these softs, and they can take a bit more, and then the mediums, because all three tires, they don't last as long as the hards do. And I would expect at least 2 of these 4 to use the soft, medium, soft, or soft, soft, medium strategy.
Chiquita comes into the pits, as does Slimbo. Pit Matt comes in, just about stopping it in time. So that means then Basti, on the hard tyres he started on, will now lead in Mexico. Grisman's picked up a 3-second time penalty for his troubles there, as Table Clan has actually got the jump, but he pitted very early on. I mean, his hard tyres are 3 laps old already, but the gap between himself and Grisman, 1.1 seconds here. The Spaniard got a great start off the line. Johan got a really good start down towards turn 1 there. They all kept it clean, the top 3, and now they run 3rd, 4th and 5th. Lap 11 here in Mexico, and it is Basti who leads from Swedish Dynamite, the only 2 drivers left to stop in this race. Table Clan's 3rd. 4th is Marco Grisman, 5th Johan, with Chiquita in 6th, Aero 7th, Slimbo 8th, Pitmat 9th, Yoko rounding out the top 10, and Alex Musica running in 11th place. But we suspect he's got to have another stop. He won't be able to make it to the end on those soft tyres. Adding to that, he's only used soft tyres so far in the race, so he's got to stop again.
Yeah, and he's ghosted as well, so I think he left the session, and I'm not so sure he's going to return. But that being said, everyone stopped and went on to the hards. If Swedish Dynamite now comes in, which he most likely will, and goes on to the mediums or another set of softs, I reckon he's going to have a great chance of flying by all these other drivers and making positions up one by one and just picking them all off and having a really, really good race. If he goes against the grain here, which of course he doesn't, goes on to the hards as well, so everyone's off to hard. I have to say that this isn't a criticism of one single driver, but honestly, this feels a bit uninspired to me. To not even attempt the 2-stop here when it's viable for once. Just go against the grain. You have the overtaking opportunities into turn 1, into turn 4, into turn 12, and you're not even using them. You're going with the safe call, the boring call, and you're not even trying to go against the grain. I mean, Swedish Dynamite was in the prime position. He was 2nd place. He's now 27 seconds down on the leader, 20 seconds down on Table Clan, the effective leader, the net leader. That's the moment where you can go, all right, we're going to try something different. We're going to try to jump everyone else. 2-stop time. But no, onto the hards, 1 stop. And I don't understand that call. I'm sorry, I don't.
Well, I did say to we had a conversation before this race started. I may have got the compound of tyres wrong, but I said, Austin, do you reckon it's going to be a 1-stop tonight? And Austin said back to me, no, it's going to be a 2-stop. You're going to see drivers here on the 2-stop. I mean, technically, yes, we are going to see Alex Musica on a 2-stop, but it's not the 2-stop he would have planned.
Are you serious now? But yeah, I have to, it's still, I don't understand it. I personally would have gone onto the 2-stop. I would have gone soft, medium, soft. Would have gotten me a good chance at the fastest lap. Would have given me a good chance at a decent result. Would have given me a fun race as well, overtaking all these other cars. Maybe some of them twice. Because obviously, you know, you do another pit stop and then you have to overtake him again. It would have been fun, but no. Instead, we get everyone going soft to hard, with the exception of Alex Musica, who has already left the session, and Locka, who hasn't made it to his first pit stop, unfortunately, retired when his car just lost the rear on the exit of turn 11.
Yeah, we've got Grisman here who's closing in on Table Clan. We're also monitoring that Johan battle 4th, 5th and 6th so far. Of course, Basti still yet to stop in this race. Let's ride on board with Grisman then as we head down the start finish straight. Obviously, he will have DRS. He might get a little bit of a tow then down towards turn 1, but it's going to be a big ask to try and move down towards turn 1. He might try and set himself up for turn 4. Meanwhile, look how much he's closing as I basically go back on my word there. He's closed right up to the Spaniard ahead now as we make our way through turn 2, then through turn 3. Let's see what the exit is like out of turn 3. It's a good one as well. He's got DRS now down towards turn 4. It's a little bit of a shorter straight, but you know what? He might go for it. He thought about it, tried the dummy, didn't work there, and Table Clan will hold on to 2nd place.
Yeah, he was trying to go to the inside to then force TableClan to defend the inside so that he can then have the outside, because into turn 4 the outside is the better line, because then turn 5 comes up and the outside turns to the inside and you have the better run there, and then turn 6 again a right hand corner, so it's still the inside, and you basically give yourself a couple of corners to complete the overtake, whereas if you go to the inside in turn 4, you're going to have to complete it basically by the entry of turn 5, which comes right after.
Well, we're hoping you are enjoying this action here in the AOR Hype Energy F3 League here on PlayStation 4. Lap 15 of the race then. Basti leads by 6.3 seconds, but he is yet to stop in this race. TableClan second place, Chrisman in third, and look at him now closing up to the back of the Spaniard here, heading down towards turn 1. He was a 10th closer than last time around, but the same result in towards turn 1 from the last lap. Almost a carbon copy there, Austin, as we head through turns 2 and 3. Again, Chrisman will get a bit of a run with the DRS. Watch out as well for Jakita, who's on the back of Johan here. Let's see what Chrisman does down towards turn 4, and again stays behind for now. What's the thinking here for Chrisman, Austin?
At this point, looking at the gaps between TableClan and Chrisman, and especially at the gaps to the cars behind, 1.3 seconds to Johan, under 2 seconds to Jakita. Don't attack. Just stay with TableClan for 20 odd laps, and then the last 2-3 laps you can start to fight. But right now, the issue is that the cars behind are quite close. In fact, Johan is almost closing up into the DRS window. I think at this point now he's in it. Is he going to be in it in the at the DRS detection point right here? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. So Johan will have DRS, as will Jakita and Viatiero. This whole train is going to come together now, and Chrisman has lost some time there to TableClan.
He has, and you can see Jakita trying to close up to that McLaren in the background. He looks for the move here, but then tucks back into the braking zone they go. So not quite the move on there for the Mercedes driver, but he's definitely within range to have a go. They've all got DRS then as we head down towards turn 4, and again Chrisman just not quite close enough to have an attack. Johan just does enough to stay ahead of Jakita heading in towards turn 4, but there's 5 cars here which could be battling for the race win, and well, whilst these cars are battling, this must be helping Basti to a degree, because obviously you've got TableClan. Yes, he's trying to focus on his lines, but he's obviously got to have in mind that Chrisman's right behind him, ready to take advantage of a mistake.
Yeah, certainly. However, one thing I'm going to tell you, Kieran, Johan may not have won a race so far this season, but he's the championship leader for a reason, and that is that he was able to close in on Chrisman and get into the DRS window, and I think he got the DRS again this time. Let's see. It was really close this time around, but he did. Barely. It was about 0.98 seconds, I would guess.
Here comes Chrisman.
He did get it.
He's got Chrisman then. He had him in his rear view mirrors. This time he's staring directly at the rear wing as Chrisman breezes past the Mercedes there in towards turn 1, and now takes over second place. A little bit of a moment there out of turn 3, but he gets a little bit of a run with the DRS down towards turn 4 to help him get away, and down towards turn 4 up to second place he goes. Watch out then for the McLaren here, because now he's trying to close up to TableClan. Now Johan here knows that Slimbo's left the session again, by the way. He's having troubles with his internet. Let's hope he can rejoin the race, but that's another disconnection from him in this race. He was able to rejoin last time pretty quickly, but this time around he's going to lose even more time. That's you know, you risk your head dropping at that point. I've had that before in a cup race years ago. I say years ago, seasons and seasons ago. I disconnected from the race. I came back and I was absolutely last, and it's just lost all hope. Yeah,
he's back now, but it's going to take a bit for him to retake his car. Swedish Dynamite, meanwhile, 3-second time penalty for him. And here we go once again, the chase across the start-finish straight. And the TableClan is not close enough to attack Marco Chrisman. Chrisman has done a really good job of pulling away a little bit here and leaving himself not so vulnerable into turn 1. In fact, there was no way. Pitmat is out.
Yeah, I think he came into the pit lane, Austin. I think he's parked the car and he's out of the race, is he? Yeah, it looks like it, because I can't see him anywhere else. And yeah, that is a ghost car of a Mercedes in the pit lane, so he came to the pits to retire the car. And yeah, that is Pitmat out of the race. That means then 9 places up for grabs, and you know what, if Alex Musica still was running around, he'd have a chance of getting a point here.
Yeah, and, to be fair, I think he desperately needs one. He had, oh my goodness, he participated this season in 13 races. This was his 14th race of the season. He's DNF'd in all of them but one.
That is...
and he's going to DNF once more here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's not been a great season for him. I remember he got a stunning pole position. Meanwhile, Johan here in the slipstream of Table Clan, but he's got the DRS. Table Clan able to defend a little bit then in towards turn 1, and Johan can't quite close it down. Jaquita, meanwhile, braking very late there, very confident on the brakes. Almost trail braking into turn 1 there, really confident in that setup, and that's going to help him towards the end of this race. He knows what the car can do. He's obviously done a lot of running on those hard tyres because he's very confident on where his braking points are.
Yeah, and you need to be on this track especially, because if you brake just a little bit too early or a little bit too late, you're going to mess up a whole lot. No matter where on this track, really. If you do it here at turn 7, you're going to struggle with the rest of the S's here. If you do it in the turn 12, you're going to basically struggle with the whole stadium section, really, because you need a certain flow to this whole section, and if you get the turn 12 wrong, you won't have that flow, and you're going to waste more time and lose more time. If you do it turn 16, you're going to waste your whole run across the start-finish straight. If you do turn 1, you're going to mess up your flow through turns 1, 2, and 3, and you're going to get a bad run onto the second straight. The whole track really just needs you to be laser-focused every single corner, every single braking zone, and it is so important here.
Yeah, doesn't it just? And Chrisman here's not getting away from Table Clan as quickly as he would have liked. Basti then still, you can see, up ahead, 2.4 seconds ahead. There he is heading down towards turn 4. And in his rear view mirrors, he's got 5 cars quickly gaining on him. Of course, Basti is yet to stop. And your guess is that he'll come out onto the soft tyres. He'll probably emerge. Slimbo's left the session again. Oh, it's not going well at all. Yeah, third time. He keeps rejoining and wants to get those points on the board. I mean, you would, wouldn't you, to just cap off what has been a miserable day for the Ferrari driver. He still keeps rejoining, though, so fair play to him. But, yeah, at some point, there's going to be that moment where you just throw in the towel.
Honestly, I don't think so. If you can get 6 points for a 7th place, you're going to keep on rejoining. Even if you get 4 points for an 8th place, as it is now, as Swedish Dynamite just overtook the ghost of Slimbo. The ghost of Slimbo passed, if you will.
Oh, wait, no. Oh, no.
Christmas has been 3 weeks ago, so that's over now. But
I'll never forgive you for that terrible, terrible pun. Anyway, riding on board with Johan. Let's get away from the pun there. That was awful.
Yes.
We've got Johan here riding on board with him. He's got a great view of Table Clan trying to close in on Chrisman. And he's got behind him Jaquita and Aero. Of course, the 2 championship rivals, Johan and Aero, running 4th and 6th at the moment. So Johan will increase his lead over Aero by a handful of points. Table Clan, meanwhile, knows he needs to get a move on. He's 42 points behind the championship leader. Chrisman, meanwhile, is 47 points behind. We've got Ian Motti, who's 54 points behind. Pitmat, well, he had to get the points here today. He won't today, so in essence, he will be out of the championship running at the end of this race, because he'll have to score 75 points. He'll be able to score 78. So actually, if he got 3 fastest laps, he'd still have a chance, but he'd have to get 3 wins on the trot. And, well, that's always going to be difficult. But all these drivers can do, Austin, is keep their heads down and see what happens. Here comes Johan here on the back of Table Clan, closing in on him bit by bit. You can see bottom right-hand side of your screen, 212 miles per hour as he looks for the move, then dives it down the inside at turn 1. No room for him. Table Clan holds on. Good positioning there from the Spaniard. He's able to hold on to that position. Johan just testing the Mercedes driver there, but he's also got a Mercedes driver behind him for good company, who we know, Austin, is so brave on these brakes. Look how close he is to the back of the gearbox there.
Yeah, with these heavy braking zones into turn 1 and turn 4, being strong on the brakes is a huge advantage for him, so expect him to make some moves towards the latter stages of this race. I think Jack Eater might be the dark horse to win this race here.
The dark horse indeed. He's had a great start to his AOR career already. Table Clan got it wrong out of 11 there, but Johan going into turn 12, it's not an overtaking place, so he can't really do anything with it. But Table Clan here might just be under a little bit of pressure as Johan presses him now into the final sector. Through now the final corner we go. And let's see what Johan can do here. As you can see, Table Clan's got a good exit out of the final corner, which will help him down the main straight. Let's just jump with Krisman here as he closes in on Basti. And of course, Basti does not have DRS whatsoever. It's going to find him very difficult to defend down towards turn 1. Krisman goes up the inside, and the Racing Point wants to race then into turn 2. Oh, that's very close between them. Now into turn 3. Krisman holds on, but Basti's not lying down here. He wants to race, heading now down towards turn 4. He hasn't got DRS. He can't do a lot here, but he manages to fend off the Mercedes there. Watch out for Johan here, who looks for a move up the inside. That's going to allow Jaquita to try and have a move into turn 5 there. No doing there, but yeah, very on tenterhooks here, aren't we, Austin? I mean, Basti's trying to battle for position here, and obviously he's not in sync with these guys at the moment. He's still yet to stop.
Yeah, but the one thing Basti is probably going to say in his defense is that, imagine there's a safety car, a virtual safety car now. Then every position that he gets and every bit of time that he can squeeze out of the other drivers that they lose is going to help him. And so, yeah, he's got every right to fight for position on track. He's on the same lap as them. Just because he hasn't made his pit stop yet doesn't mean he has to just lie down and take it from everyone else who just drives past. He's entitled to fight. And he does. I think this is good. I think this is fantastic. It shows a bit of strategic thinking on his part in case there's a VSC or an actual safety car somehow. Really smart, I think. If there is no safety car or VSC, obviously he costs himself some time. But then again, he cost this whole group some time as well. So there is no net loss for him.
And to be fair to him, he's only 8 tenths behind Krisman, and the age gap between those tyres is, what's that, 9 laps, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, 9 laps. I can do maths, Austin. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, 9 laps difference.
I didn't say anything. Okay.
But yeah, he's hanging on in there. Only a second now. You know, considering how worn his tyres are, and considering how the other guys around them will have been battling as well. Their tyres will have been a little bit affected by that. Basti getting a bit out of shape in that final sector there. He might cost himself a position to Table Clan coming through now, turn 17. But you can see there, Krisman's galloped away now. He's still breaking the slipstream to Basti behind, who's 1.5 seconds back. Here's Table Clan then, but here's Johan, who's got a double toe here. Are we going to see 3 wide in towards turn 1? We may do. Heading now into the braking zone as Table Clan takes the inside line. Johan follows him through, and Basti now down to 4th place. For a split second there, I thought we were going 3 wide.
Yeah, thankfully we didn't. I have to say, I was on the onboard perspective for Basti there. It kind of felt like Ricardo Zonta in Spa. It really did. The 2 cars just shooting past on the right side. My goodness, that was a sight to see. But yeah, they're driving off into the distance now, and honestly, I reckon, Marco Krisman with a 3-second time penalty, that could have huge implications for the race result and the race win ultimately. Meanwhile, yeah, what I was about to say is Basti is probably going to come into the pits either at the end of this or the next lap. If I was his strategist, I would tell him to come in now, but yeah, you never know. It's his choice to make, and from what I can see, his pit crew isn't out yet, so he stays out for one more lap. But he's going to have to come in soon. We are in lap 26 now, so at the end of this one, it's 10 laps to go. And maybe, honestly, maybe it was the smart call to stay out, because now he has DRS, and that's obviously going to help him. Against Jackita, but Jackita is the loss of the late breakers, and whoa, it's getting really close there, but Basti defends with everything he's got, and he keeps the position, at least for now. There's another heavy braking zone coming right up here, but Jackita isn't close enough, I reckon. He shows himself, but yeah, that is not there. And Emerald Basti stays ahead of at least one Mercedes for just a bit longer.
Yeah, absolutely great battling all across the field here for these late positions. Grisman now 1.8 seconds, I believe, Austin. That's his second 3-second time penalty for track limits. There's Johan, I believe that's his second one. I know Aero's got at least one, so all up and down the field here. There's time penalties galore, so we'll have to see how that affects them towards the end of the race. We might just have to have a sneak peek at the penalties board and seeing how it could change at the checkered flag. As it stands though, lap 26 out of 36. Grisman is about to start lap 27 in the lead. We now have 10 laps to go here in Mexico, and it is Grisman who leads. Table Clan in second. Basti finally comes into the pits then, so Table Clan second, Johan third, Jackita in fourth, Aero fifth, Basti sixth for now. I can see him rejoining in sixth, just ahead of Swedish Dynamite. Might be close between the two of them though. There is Dynamite there in seventh place. Meanwhile, Johan putting some pressure on Table Clan as we head now through turn 3. He'll have a little bit of DRS. Remember, Table Clan will not have DRS on the run down towards turn 4, but that McLaren's DRS isn't open either, as he still looks for a move down towards turn 4. Ooh, a little bit of contact between the two of them there as Johan tries to get away through as we now head towards turn 6, tries up the inside.
Emma, Basti and Swedish Dynamite are battling there. Basti came out of the pits just behind Swedish Dynamite. And obviously, if you're on the soft, you want free air in front of you. You want a free track in front of you. So he battled out of the pits with Swedish Dynamite and actually got the position in turn 1. And now he has a whole lot of free real estate right in front of him. 21 seconds to be exact. That's the gap to Aero, so he can really make the most of the track and his tires now. He can go for fastest lap. He's going to get that extra point most likely, and maybe somehow try to capitalize on all the cars in front. Table Clan, Johan, Jackita, Aero battling away, whereas he just has the ideal racing line through every single corner for the next 9 laps.
Here's Johan here looking for a move down, this time around the outside of turn 1. Nothing doing for him there as we head through turns 2 and 3. Got to be so careful about the sleeping policeman here, especially on these worn tyres. They're more prone to spinning out, losing grip. Here's Johan then up the inside at turn 4, shows his nose into the inside, and Table Clan fully committed there of taking his racing line into turn 4. Johan had to back out of that closing door, so Table Clan is going to be no pushover here. He wants this position. He knows he needs to get as many points as possible over Johan. This is important for the Mercedes driver.
Yeah, it really is. He needs to hold on to Table Clan. For both the Mercedes drivers, this is important here. Jackita needs to get past Johan, and Table Clan needs to stay in second place. He's losing out to Marco Grisman lap by lap anyway. The gap is going up to almost 3 seconds now, and for Jackita, he's struggling behind Johan so much. He needs to get past. Aero picks up a penalty. By the way, I had a little look at the penalties. It is a lot more than we've paid attention to, especially for our one championship leader, Johan, who's, I think at this point, he's got 5 penalties, 15
here he comes.
seconds.
Sorry to cut across you there, Austin, but that is Johan making a move down towards turn 1 to take second place away. Meanwhile, Jaquita there. Oh, there is Aero trying to go up the inside at turn 2. He's around the outside for turn 3. Has to go off the track there. There was nowhere else for him to go. This time, though, he has a little bit of DRS as he runs now down towards turn 4 for Aero as well. This is so important there. Jaquita braking there. You could see him lock up into turn 4. Just about all kept it together there, but Aero knows he has to get past there. Seeing Johan get another position, that's going to be a little bit more of a drive there for Aero to get another position.
Yeah, to get 2 positions, get by both the Mercedes and then hunt after the guy you are hunting after in the championship as well. That is going to be the task now for Aero. It seems almost insurmountable because you have 2 Mercedes. If it's 2 different cars, it's a different story. Johan with another penalty, though. And that might be Aero's saving grace here, that Johan has so many penalties. Aero has a couple of them as well. He has 3 right now, so 9 seconds, but it's not exactly the 18 seconds that Johan is going to be slapped with at the end of the race. And so if Aero just stays with this whole group and somehow stays with Johan, even though there's still Table Clan and Jaquita between them, then he has a good chance of picking up some points, net points, on Johan.
You can see there Jaquita, oh, he's locked up the brakes there into turn 1. He might get a compromised run through 2 and 3. Aero's got to focus on his exit of 3, but the back end goes very slightly there. He's able to pick it back up, but he's right on the back of Jaquita here. Up the inside of the Mercedes, he'll go then locking up there. The Mercedes gives him room in towards turn 5 and just takes the corner away from Aero there. Holds the inside line of turn 6. Jaquita saw that coming from a mile away, and fair play to Jaquita. He reacted and held on beautifully there.
I don't think that was a reaction. I think they both just genuinely missed their braking point and both went deep. That's what it looked like. Both locked up their front left tires, for one. And wow. They both did not want to blink first. And at the end of the day, they braked at exactly the same time, stayed right next to each other. And Jaquita keeps the position. Fantastic stuff there from Viatiera and Jaquita.
And here they come then onto the main straight, lap 31 here at the Mexican Grand Prix. Surely this is the move then for Aero. Jaquita will make it as difficult as he possibly can, but there is Aero then with the DRS past the Mercedes as he makes his way now down towards turn 1 and finally takes away 4th place and moves now up the order. More points to his name so far, and as you were saying, Austin, the important thing for him is to keep within that time to Johan there. Johan is actually trying to close back in on Marco Krisman. The gap is now just over 2 seconds. It was a bit more than that before, and with Johan maybe a little bit unleashed, he might be able to try and catch the car ahead. Meanwhile, Jocke there, who's just had a little bit of a quiet race, as has Swedish Dynamite towards the end of this one anyway. 7th and 8th place at the moment for them. Basti 13 seconds now behind Jaquita. He's done well so far, and we'll have to wait and see how he'll get on. It's all well and good catching the cars ahead, but the problem with is that the soft tyres wear out far quicker than the hard tyres, and the performance gap between them, the delta time between them gets much shorter as you go through the race, and even so towards the end of this race the hard tyres may overtake the soft tyres on performance.
Considering that Basti only went into the pits at the end of lap 26, so he's only going to have 10 laps on these soft tyres, I don't think that's going to be the case. Even at the end of the 10 laps, the softs are still going to be slightly faster than the 20... what are they going to be then? 25, 26 lap old hards? Slightly, but so the delta is definitely going to shrink with every single lap. That is true, but I don't think the hards are going to overtake the softs towards the end of the race here.
We'll have to wait and see then as the sun beams down on the Mexican track. It has been overcast. There have been areas of the track under shade, so the track can cool down, but it looks like it hasn't been too effective or too annoying for the drivers. They've been able to keep their tyres in good nick, and Mexico's not normally a track associated with high tyre wear or very high tyre wear as some other tracks are. There you can see Aero now closing in on Table Clan as we now head in towards the stadium section. In towards 13 we go, onwards then towards 14 and 15. There's 15, the little kink there in towards turn 16, and then around the final corner at turn 17. Now Johan here won't have DRS. Table Clan gets a little bit loose out of the final corner there. This could be a chance for Aero. I mean, Table Clan has DRS, but you can see the Toro Rosso closing and closing and closing. Table Clan goes defensive. Aero looks for that opening on the right-hand side, then down towards turn 1 we go. The Toro Rosso trying to leap it up the inside as Table Clan defends hard there into turn 2 and manages to hold on. But look how much closer Aero is now to the back of Table Clan. Table Clan defending the left-hand side. He's got the inside line for turn 4 and then takes the racing line there. Might outbrake himself here. Aero picks up a 3-second time penalty. Meanwhile, Chiquita tries a move up the inside, but the door was always closing and he had to back out of that one. He's lost a bit of time there, but I'm sure with Table Clan and Aero battling like this, he'll catch them back up in no time.
Yeah, and I have to say, from Table Clan, I would call that a questionable move there in the braking zone. If you do defend the inside, you have to leave at least one car width on the outside. And that was way too close for comfort. Table Clan, really, you gotta leave us all the time. You have to leave a space there to say it. I mean, Table Clan is Spanish. I think he should understand.
Well, Aero here will get to have another go, but Table Clan this time looks like he's not going to have DRS on the back of Johan here. Let's see as he crosses that activation point. He doesn't, so this is Aero's opportunity now in towards turn 1 with only 3 laps to go. Look at him go now up the inside. He'll go to the right hand side of the track, back towards the racing line, and he takes away 3rd place. That is a crucial move, and now he's got his championship rival right ahead of him, 1.1 ahead.
Yeah, and again, the penalties are going to come into play here. Meanwhile, Marco Krisman, I think, has picked up the pace a little bit. He was getting comfortable up ahead with Table Clan dropping back more and more, but now that Johan is there, he sees the threat, and he sees in the timing screens every single sector. He knows he had to pick it up, and he did. The gap still very, very consistently at around 2 seconds, and sometimes it falls to 1.8, 1.7. Sometimes it goes up again to 2.2. Always in that range. You want another 3-second time penalty. This is going to be his downfall here today. The question is, how much can Aero capitalize, and how much can he decrease the gap of currently 18 points in the standings? We're only going to find out at the end of the race when they come across the finish line. It's going to be 2 more laps.
Yeah, we'll watch out here for the battle between the Mercedes as well, as Table Clan seems to have fallen off here. His pace isn't good anymore. Maybe it's to do with the tyres. They are 27 laps old. Here goes Chiquita then as he flies past him with the help of DRS. And I think this could have been Table Clan's decision to pit early, 3 laps earlier than Krisman. This could be that decision coming back to bite him.
Yeah, the odds are definitely, for him at least, at a point where they are falling off the cliff, and you can see it in his times. If we look at his last couple of laps, throughout the whole stint, he was in the 118s, mid 118s. Sometimes when he was battling, it dropped down to 119s. Now he's not battling, and it still drops down to 119.3 on the last lap. So you can see him really struggling now with those tires, with the tire wear. And this is just testament to that he's dropping down all the way to P5 now. However, he might gain some of those positions back because Table Clan currently does not have a single penalty.
So let's see how that's going to affect it all as we head on to the final lap of this race. Krisman will start the lap in the lead, but where will he finish it when the checkered flag falls? Johan is in second, 1.7 behind. Aero in third, 1.2 behind. Chiquita in fourth. That's the closest battle on the track we have right now, and Chiquita wants this late podium. Now, I'm not sure about penalties for the Italian here as he makes his way now through turn 3, but I tell you something, he's gone to the next round and back there off the track there as we now head down towards turn 4. He looks to try and close in on that Toro Rosso. He knows he's only got 1 lap to go, but does he play it safe and see what the penalties do, or does he go for it confidently and try and take that track position? Meanwhile, Chrisman making his way through turn 7. Look how close these guys are. Even after 36 laps, they have been really close to each other, pretty much sharing the same bit of track for the last 30 laps or so. It's been great to watch, and I hope you've enjoyed this as well as we head now towards the final corners.
I'm going to tell you right now, Table Clan actually has a chance to still win this, even though he's 5 seconds behind because he has no penalties.
Here comes
Marco Grisman is going to come through the final corner, and he's going to cross the line on track as the winner, but is it going to hold up? He is in P1, Johan's second, but how is it going to shape out at the end? There goes Table Clan, and he goes on to win the Mexican Grand Prix.
Wow, what a performance then. His tyres were starting to fall off the cliff, but no penalties whatsoever has given Table Clan a much needed win there. It's a great performance, and that is his first race win of the season. A big congratulations to the Spaniard there. He did really well all race, and that's Chrisman then in second place. Still a very respectable amount of points there, but what's important is Johan there, 6th place after all those penalties. His championship rival Aero in 13th, and if my maths is correct, that's 15 points for Aero there. That's 8 for Johan, so that's 7 points the difference. The gap then between the two of them comes down to 11 points with 3 rounds to go. But Table Clan here, his first race win of the season, he wins the Mexican Grand Prix.
Yeah, and a fantastic performance. This is his 10th points finish in a row. Just to put that into perspective right now, 10th points finish in a row. He hasn't DNF'd. He hasn't been outside the top 10 ever since... hold on, I need to scroll here. This doesn't show up for me. There you go. I'm sorry. Ever since Austria. Austria. That was the 9th race of the season. That was in October. And that was 3 months ago. For the last 3 months in AOR, Table Clan has always been in the points every single race.
Well, what a performance.
And now he crowns it with a win.
Absolutely. 2 second places this season so far for Table Clan, and a 3rd place to match, but this time he is the race winner. He wins ahead of Marco Chrisman. Aero is in 3rd place with Basti in 4th, Chiquita in 5th there with Johan in 6th, Swedish Dynamite in 7th, Yoka finishing in 8th place, non-finishers Slimbo, Alex Musica, Pitmat and Locker all not making it to the checkered flag. But what a day for Table Clan, what a race we had in Mexico.
Yeah, and now Table Clan moves up to 154 points. He's back in the championship fight. And Marco Chrisman with his 18, don't count him out just yet. The gaps are all closing in. We have... Oh god, and now I'm going to have to do some math here. So, Johan got P6, right?
Yes, he did indeed.
So that is 179. Benidorm is at 168, so there's the 11 points you mentioned. Table Clan is at 154, so that's yeah, I mean that's one race win. That's 25 points difference between Johan as the championship leader and Table Clan. That's just 25 points, and then Marco Chrisman gets 18, so he's at 142. So that's 37 points between the top 4 in the standings.
Well, it's mightily close then as we head towards the last 3 races of the season, and hopefully you will join us next time. Make sure you follow the league on Twitter at ApexOnRacing. You can follow me on Twitter whilst you're there if you like, at KS McGinley, and you can also follow Austin there. It's at the Badgerman, and the second E is a 3.
Yes. I need to find a better solution to this.
Well, hopefully you've enjoyed tonight's racing. I certainly have. Have you, Austin?
I have, and I can't wait for the second part of Tex-Mex Week next week at the Circuit of the Americas in Texas, in Austin. I mean, it's my name, and it's the city. It's just so... I love this track.
And you simply, for that reason alone, you don't want to miss next week. But a very close championship battle. The top two separated by 11 points with 3 races to go. Hopefully you've enjoyed tonight's racing. Thank you very much for watching. And until next time, I've been Kieran McGinley.
And I'm Austin Smith.
Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time.